Hello everybody, Guru here, back with Guru TV. I've had a couple recommendations about some training aids that I linked up on my blog, and I just wanted to maybe start a little series of highlighting a few of these training aids that I've actually been using the last few weeks. And the one I'm going to do today is called the Pivot Pro. And Doug, if you could pan in on that a little bit. Can you see that? Very unusual looking deal here. Maybe it looks like you're getting ready to go skiing or something, but I'm actually going to show you a couple of video shots of a student that I worked with a couple of days ago and show you the changes, which were pretty massive, to help you kind of see how the benefit could be for you to use this. So it's a pretty neat little deal, easy to strap in, almost like a little ski boot, and it actually has your foot tilted a little bit towards the target. And what it's for is for you guys out there that tend to lose your right leg or tend to sway too much to the right, you're going to really feel this pull up against your leg. So it's going to help you to feel the proper pivot. As we swing back, we want to feel like we miss this pull, and the right hip tends to, rotate behind you a little bit more as opposed to the side, which we see a lot of players do. So I really think this is a great training aid. For you guys out there, I think it runs like $89 or something, so it's not too expensive, but it's a great way to work on some things in your footwork. It also has been valuable. I used it on a guy the other day that actually straightened his right leg a little too much, so it helped him to feel the weight staying more towards the inside of his right foot, and it just allowed him to stay flexed, so he had a nice base to push off from into his forward swing. I used it one time last week for a guy that actually was coming off of his right foot. He was sort of coming out and his heel was coming off the ground this way. So a little bit of weight here, it actually helped him to load that right side and to get that weight back into the right heel a little bit more at the top of his backswing. So it really gives you a nice sense of, all right, we don't want to do this, so we want to make sure that the right hip turns behind us and we can get some width and get some nice loading into the backswing. All right, so let's go to the video. I want to share with you a lesson that I did last week in a little corporate clinic that I think you might find interesting. So let's take you over to the computer here and see what that looks like. All right, so we're talking about a new training aid that I'm working with, the Pivot Pro, and I'm going to show you some video here of a before and after with a student that I worked with a few days ago in a corporate clinic. And this was just a very short lesson. I maybe spent 20, 30 minutes with him tops. It's a higher handicapper, but I think you're going to see the benefit of this aid as we go forward. So if you want to switch it over here to the video, you'll see I've got the before swing on the left and the after on the right. And as we talked about, we're looking to fix that swaying right leg, or a right leg that our right foot tends to roll too much to the outside and gets the weight on the outside. And very difficult to control the bottom of your golf swing if you're moving too far laterally in your golf swing one way or another. So as you'll see in the before, I started with a quick grip change. This guy was slicing it pretty bad, so the left hand was real weak, the right hand was way up under the club. So I'll highlight that real quick, but you can see that a very poor grip there. So we're looking at a little bit more connected, a little stronger left hand, more in the fingers. So let's take him back here on the left side, and you'll see the before. You can see a big collapse of the right leg there. It gets way out over his right foot and collapses at the top as well. So, we just discussed briefly with, what does it feel like when I put this boot on you? And he said, well, definitely feel more weight on the inside of my right foot. And I said, well, let's keep it there. Let's keep the knee a little more inside the ankle. And I said, I just don't want you to hit this pole right here. And he said, so my hips should actually rotate backwards. And I said, absolutely. So that's what we talked about very briefly. Got a very quick change out of it. And you'll see here that that's a pretty good pivot. Okay. Now, of course, I hadn't gotten to his arms yet, or his extension or the width at the top, but just looking at the lower body, that's a pretty big change. So I had him hit a few balls with that on there, and then after we took it off, he managed to maintain that change pretty easily because he had a feel of it. So you can see coming down, very tough to kind of get back to the same spot, and he happened to, time this one okay, but most of the time he was hitting way behind the ball or hitting it thin or hitting it way to the right. And the interesting thing here is it actually managed to help his plane as well. So we'll see. I did make a little setup change. I got the legs a little bit taller, got him in a little better balance. Here on the left he was squatting way too much, and you can see the shaft of the club's way too high because the club is up in his palm. So we got the club a little more in his fingers. I'll just draw a couple of lines here, so he really doesn't even have a separation there. So before, up to the top. Like I said, started working a little more on his extension as well as we went forward, but this was very early. And you can see before he came way over the top, coming from the outside. And then because his lower body's a little more underneath him, it allowed him to get more into his left side, and the club actually dropped into a better plane. So that's pretty dramatic in a very short amount of time that I spent with this student. And his ball striking improved dramatically because of that. And he was pretty excited. So one other quick video here I'll show you. I don't have the before and after, but I've got a guy that had a tendency to straighten the right leg a little too much. I put the Pivot Pro on him as well. And you can see as he goes back, he's allowed to maintain a little bit more flex. So what happens when his leg got really tall, he tended to get out of his posture even more. And that really made it tough for him to make a transition. So you can see that's a pretty good swing right there. Coming down, and then he kept his foot on the ground because it's a little bit heavy. So hopefully you can see the benefit. I'm gonna start doing a few of these videos of some of the training aids that I am using going forward, so you can kind of see how they look like in action, and also the reasoning for it. I think the key with training aids, guys, is getting one that fits your swing area. Don't just buy anything off the internet or what your buddy's using. Make sure that it matches the swing area that you have going on, and I think you're going to be all right. So thanks for checking out the blog. Keep the questions coming. Hope you're enjoying all the information I got going on there, and I'll see you next time on Guru TV.